2024 MLB Draft is officially underway, so you know I've got to rank every player taken in the first round from best to worst. I don't even really like saying worst because there's no bad players. All these guys taken in the first round are beasts, but I'm going to rank them still and tell you which one I like the most. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into this video. I wish I could have gotten out earlier, but my AC broke, I've been sick with a sore throat, and my internet's been crashing. So it's taken a little bit longer, but we're finally here. So please, if you could, drop a like on today's video. It really does help show support. A lot of time and effort goes into these draft videos. Subscribe so you don't miss out. There are a ton more draft videos coming at you. So if you like that kind of content or just baseball in general, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc, links in description. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Baseball is in full swing, and SeatGeek is giving a special offer to my viewers since you all use my code so much. Giraffe10 is a special code that gives you 10% off your order, whether you're a first-time buyer or not. Basically, nobody else has this discount. And you know me, I'm always trying to go to baseball games, and I want to get the best tickets for the best deal possible. SeatGeek makes it incredibly easy for you because they take tickets from all across the web and put them in one place to make sure you are getting the best deal possible. There are more than 70,000 events every single day on SeatGeek, including concerts, more sporting events, festivals, anything you want, you name it. I'm looking for tickets to the upcoming Subway Series between the Mets and the Yankees. I'm going to SeatGeek. And the best part about SeatGeek too is that they have their SeatGeek score. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 meaning this is a great deal, you should buy it, those green circles, or if you see red or a low score of 1, 2, avoid those, not the best deal. Not to mention, SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, so they have you covered for all your baseball ticket needs. Don't worry, like I said, I've got the hookup. Use code Giraffe10 for 10% off your order, whether you're a first-time buyer or not. All you have to do is sign in or sign up, go to your account, go under promo codes, and add the code Giraffe10 for that 10% discount. That's 10% off any purchase using my code Giraffe10. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. Getting today's video started at number 30, I've got Brewers' first-round pick, Braylon Payne out of Elkins High School in Texas. Payne is very similar to last year's first-round pick by the Dodgers, Kendall George, in that he is one of the most athletic players in the entire draft class. While he doesn't have that top speed necessarily, he still is a plus athlete with a plus running glove tool, and he won't turn 18 until a month after the draft. He has a really short left-handed swing that is a little bit flat right now, needs to get a little bit more lift, but he does have really quick hands and has the ability to beat out ground balls. He'll probably never be a big home run guy, but he has the ability to have some gap power, play elite defense out in the outfield, and cause havoc on the base paths. Next up at number 29, I've got the Phillies' first-round pick, Dante Norrie out of Northville High School in Michigan. Norrie, another high school outfielder taken in the first round. He is a little bit older as he'll turn 20 just a couple months after the draft, but he does have all-around tools that make him very comparable to some of these smaller outfielders in baseball right now. He also comes from a really talented lineage. His grandfather recruited Kyle Schwarber to the University of Indiana when he was an assistant coach, and his dad is currently an assistant coach with the Minnesota Timberwolves. What I really like about Norrie is that he's really strong, has really good plate discipline, and controls the strike zone, along with making consistent hard contact to all fields. His quick left-handed swing allows him to make contact on a consistent basis, and he's strong enough that he can show average to maybe even slightly above average power during batting practice. Not to mention he's wildly fast, put up some of the fastest 60-yard dash times that we saw in this class, and has the ability to be a no-doubt center fielder in the future. Similarly, at number 28, I've got another high school outfielder with a shorter build. That's Slade Caldwell of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Caldwell, coming out of Valley View High School in Arkansas, was originally a little bit higher up in the rankings, but because of an injury this past season, it did cause him to drop a little bit. That being said, the Diamondbacks have had amazing success with smaller build outfielders in the past. Look at Alec Thomas, look at Corbin Carroll, even look at Jorge Barrosa. Caldwell is built like an ox though. He's extremely aggressive at the plate, even though he has good plate discipline, and he's shown he has enough bat speed and power to give you 15 plus home runs a season. Caldwell also has above average speed on the base paths and the ability to be a quality center fielder in the future. For the 27th ranked player in the first round, I'm going with Malcolm Moore, who was drafted by the Texas Rangers. Moore was taken 30th overall as a sophomore from Stanford, and he has one of the most interesting hit setups I've ever seen. He's basically completely open to the pitcher and taps his foot as a timing mechanism. That's something that does concern me. It has not played into a problem yet for Malcolm Moore, but something to keep an eye on for whether or not they fix that or not. Back in the 2022 draft class, Malcolm Moore was considered to be one of the best high school hitters. He's shown an advanced approach at the plate and has the ability to do a lot of damage, but he has elite chase rates, doesn't swing and miss often in the zone, and while he's maybe not going to be a catcher per se in the future, but he does have the skills that he could build upon where he could stay at the position. His offensive potential, though, is what makes him exciting because that bat is strong. Just missing on the top 25 at number 26, I've got PJ Morlando out of Somerville High School in South Carolina. The Marlins jumped up a little bit here to grab PJ Morlando, but he was a guy going into the season who was considered to be a no-doubt first-round pick. Morlando does have an impressive track record as well. He won the high school home run derby, was the MVP of the high school All-American game at the All-Star game last year, and while his stock did drop a little bit this spring, he does have crazy pop in that bat. He was Gatorade's South Carolina Prep Player of the Year, and he does have advanced hit tools for the high school age. He makes two-strike adjustments. He's willing to be patient at the plate. He's also got a big frame, 6'3", 198 pounds. The one thing with Morlando is he probably won't be a center fielder. You're going to stick him in the corners most likely, but he's shown the ability to have plus power and good athleticism, which is why you draft a guy like PJ Morlando. Getting the top 25 started. At number 25, I've got Yankees first-round pick Ben Hess, who's a pitcher from the University of Alabama. Ben Hess is a unit. This dude is 6'5", 255, and he has crazy high upside. Some people are saying he has the potential to be as good as a number 2 starter in the major leagues as long as he throws more strikes, because that fastball has got some life. It can reach up to 99, 100 miles per hour with some carry and run. He's normally sitting in the mid-90s range, which is still phenomenal. He's got a 2-plane slider that gives him some good depth and is a decent second pitch. The curveball is a nice different look. He's getting a lot of comps to Lance Lynn because of the build, but because of the fact that his walk rate tripled this past season, it did cause him to drop a little bit more on the boards, but on sheer upside alone, I love this pick by the Yankees. Next up at number 24, I've got the Dodgers first-round pick, Kellen Lindsey, shortstop out of Hardy High School in Florida. Kellen Lindsey is a sick athlete. He is incredibly athletic. Lindsey flew up draft boards this year, wasn't necessarily a guy who you thought was going to be a first-round pick, but after what he showed in the high school season, he flew up. He's got 80 grade run tool, which is just absolutely disgusting, and he's also just taken a big step in everything that he's done because he stopped playing football this year and focused on baseball. He has a short, compact swing from the right side with a lot of line drives up the middle. Probably doesn't profile ever as a power guy, but he is 6'2", so there is potential to build into that natural size and turn it into power at some point. His swing decisions are pretty solid. He will take walks as well, and his defense has improved in this past spring. So there's a very good chance that he could stick at shortstop for a very long time. And when the Dodgers get their hands on an athletic guy up the middle, I think anything's possible, and I really like his swing from what I've seen. For the 23rd best player taken in the first round, I'm going with Walker Yannick, catcher out of Sam Houston State. Yes, the Astros first round pick, pretty solid. This dude won the Buster Posey Award last year in college baseball, which is the best catcher in the nation. And when you watch him hit and you watch him catch, I mean, it's incredibly impressive. He has an absolute hose behind the plate. He dominates the run game. Nobody steals off this guy. And he's got an incredibly quick release with incredible accuracy. And at the plate, he's got a really short, compact, aggressive right-handed swing where he just launches baseballs. Now, he does tend to chase out of the zone. That's something the Astros can fix. And he's not the greatest athlete, but at the catcher position with a cannon of an arm and a dude who could have some pop, I mean, that's pretty disgusting to me. Next up, coming in at number 22, we've got the Padres first-round pick, left-handed pitcher Cash Mayfield out of Elk City High School in Oklahoma. Now, Mayfield was one of the older prep players, already 19 at the time of the draft, but I absolutely love what I've seen from Mayfield on the mound. 6'4", 200 pounds, and he's a lefty. The fastball sits in the low to mid-90s with the ability to get up to 97 with some arm side run and carry. He's got a really solid changeup as his second pitch that's in the low 80s, drops a ton at the plate, and makes his fastball look even faster because of the change in speeds. He does have a third pitch that's a little bit slurvy in the upper 70s, but the shape of it isn't necessarily the greatest right now. He just has a really good ability to locate it, and that's what you love with Cash Mayfield. His mechanics are beautiful. He's got a fluid delivery, repeats it time and time again, and he throws a ton of strikes. And this is a solid pick by the Padres. I really like Cash Mayfield a lot. Just missing on the top 20 at number 21, I'm going with Seaver King, the number 10 overall pick by the Washington Nationals, a shortstop out of Wake Forest. Seaver King has one of the cooler stories. He was a beast at D2 Wingate in North Carolina and wanted to prove that he could make it at the D1 level, so he transferred to Wake Forest and had an amazing season. At Wake Forest last year, Seaver King hit 16 homers, 64 RBIs, stole 11 bases, a 308 average, 377 on base, 577 slugging, and a 954 OPS. He's also got the ability to move around the field, played 4 different positions at Wake Forest, really good at putting the ball in play, has a really quick swing that allows him to drive the ball to all fields. While he does need to improve his plate discipline, he does make some crazy swing decisions at times, which cause him to then make a lot more weak contact. He has all the tools to be a plus player at some point, though. In the top 20 start at number 20, I've got Vance Honeycutt, outfielder from the University of North Carolina. The Orioles took what the Orioles take every year, a white guy with long blonde hair. But Vance Honeycutt, just like all these other guys they take, is really good. He was someone who I think people were looking too much into the college numbers last year and not realizing how good he actually is. Because at the plate, he's got some sick pop. I mean, some of the best pop that we see in the first round. He's a great defensive outfielder. He's going to stick in center field for a very long time. There are some swing and miss concerns, and some of his decision-making at the plate isn't necessarily the greatest, but at 6'3", 205, with well above average pop and bat speed, great defense out in center field, and the ability to steal bases, I think people overlooked Vance Honeycutt quite a bit. This could be one of the better picks of the draft. For the 19th best player in the 2024 MLB Draft first round, I'm going with New York Mets pick Carson Benj, outfielder out of Oklahoma State. Benj has some of the quickest hands in the entire draft, even though he kind of struggles to pull the ball in the air at times. But his bat-to-ball skills plus high exit velocities are some of the best out of all the college hitters you could have taken. He has a sweet left-handed stroke, controls the strike zone, and is able to use the opposite field to his advantage. The power should be good at the pro level because of his hitting ability and bat speed, and he is a pretty decent athlete. There is a slight chance he can maybe play center field, but right field feels like his home. He has a cannon of an arm. He pitched at Oklahoma State, got up to 96. But I was really excited to see when the Mets took this guy because of those bat-to-ball skills and high exit velos, things that I prioritize in players. Next up at number 18, I've got Minnesota Twins first-round pick Kalen Culpepper, shortstop out of Kansas State. Culpepper actually played all around the infield. You've seen him at third base. He can even play a little bit of second base, but shortstop is his primary position. While he looks like he may top out at around that 10 to 15 home run range at the major league level, I absolutely love Kalen Culpepper's swing. He was awesome in college. Hit .474 in the NCAA tournament for Kansas State. He's arguably the best player to ever come out of that college. And he has a really disciplined approach where he's worried about making contact and using the entire field because he has above average bat speed. He's a good athlete, and with average power, he has the ability to make some noise. And that defensive versatility in the field, while, again, shortstop might not be where he calls home at the end of the day, he has the potential to be a really good third baseman. Coming in at number 17, I've got San Francisco Giants first-round pick James Tibbs III, outfielder out of Florida State. He had 17 home runs back in 2023 with a .682 slugging, and he somehow put it together for another amazing season this year at Florida State. He is super confident at the plate. His approach is incredible. His strikeout rate dropped, his walk rate increased, and he absolutely crushes fastballs in the zone. Now, he has struggled a bit with breaking balls at times, and outfield-wise, he's going to be in the corners because he's not the greatest athlete. May eventually even see him at first base. It tends to be more of a floor pick than a ceiling pick here for the Giants, but he is a very professional hitter, a guy who has an awesome approach already with a little bit of pop in that bat. Just missing on the top 15 at number 16, I've got Mariners first-round pick Jurrangelo Cijntje, switch pitcher out of Mississippi State. Yes, you heard that correct. He is a switch pitcher. Cijntje's fastball from the right side tops out at 98, and on the left side, he throws a low 90s fastball, looks more like a reliever lefty, but he can legitimately pitch at a high level with both hands. And the Mariners are a perfect place for him to go because I think they'll be able to get him to do both at a really high level. This is one of the best pitching organizations in all of Major League Baseball. If anybody can do it, it's the Mariners. He throws a slider and a changeup from the right side. The slider can get up to 91 miles per hour, and the changeup is thrown a little bit hard with some fade. From the left side, he throws from a lower arm slot, so he throws a sweepier breaking ball and a low 90s fastball. He did end up pitching righty more this year than lefty, but he improved so much upon his strike throwing this past year that even with average control, this guy could be a fascinating player to watch. In the top 15 started at number 15, we've got the Atlanta Braves first-round pick Cam Caminiti, left-handed pitcher out of Saguaro High School in Arizona. Cousin of former major leaguer and steroid user Ken Caminiti, Cam has been a really, really talented player in this draft. Arguably the best prep arm in the entire class. He actually ended up reclassifying because he wanted to get ready to go into this draft right now. He was drafted at only 17 years of age, so there's definitely a little bit more time for development with Cam. What you love from him, though, 98 miles per hour with that fastball. That's absolutely disgusting. And he commands it really well. He gets a lot of swings and misses, too, because that thing has some carry, along with the fact that he has a super deceptive delivery from the left side. He has a curve. He has a slider. They both kind of get inconsistent at times, but that's just being 17 years old, I think. Everything else that you see from Cam Caminiti is really fascinating. Coming in at number 14, I've got Chicago Cubs first-round pick Cam Smith, third baseman out of Florida State University. Cam Smith was drawing comparisons to Yandy Diaz, a guy who has crazy high exit velos, mashes the ball, doesn't really strike out, gets on base, but hits it into the ground. So if the Cubs are able to get this guy to put the ball in the air, you have something special cooking here because he has some crazy raw power. He was able to keep his swing and misses to a minimum this past season. He's looked a little bit more athletic and actually looks like he has a chance to maybe even stick at third base with a strong arm. If he's able to duplicate the improvements that we've seen the last couple seasons at Florida State, along with those crazy exit velos and serious raw power, Cam Smith could end up being someone that you look at and go, wow, can't believe they missed him. Next up, coming in at number 13, I've got Theo Gillen, first-round pick by the Tampa Bay Rays. They listed him as an outfielder out of Westlake High School in Texas. Gillen, for most of the draft process, had been listed as a middle infielder, but he was announced as an outfielder with the Rays, which is super interesting. He is a great athlete, though, so if there was a guy who could make the move, Gillen would be that man. He probably has the best bat of any high schooler in this entire draft class. Another dude with quick hands. He has a really beautiful left-handed swing that puts line drives all over the field. He probably is a 20 home run a year guy at the absolute worst at the major league level, and you can imagine that it's going to continue to develop with his big frame, 6'2", 195, and he also runs really well, which is why I think he'll be able to make that switch to the outfield, and if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be the Tampa Bay Rays. Sweet left-handed swing, plus a good athlete and quick hands, yeah, Theo Gillen's legit. Next up at number 12, fell a little bit in the draft, Toronto Blue Jays first-round pick, Trey Yesavage, right-handed pitcher out of East Carolina. Yesavage really burst onto the scene this past year. He was a guy who always had a really, really good splitter, but he was able to get that fastball up to 98 miles an hour this past season, and that caught scouts' attention because the splitter's been nasty, and he has a spike curveball in the low 80s that's pretty good, but 98 with a lot of carry from a high arm slot, you don't get to see that too often. Yesavage stands in at 6'4", 225. He improved upon everything that you saw from the prior season and was one of the best pitchers in college baseball this year. He's a guy that you're looking at who could be a mid-rotation starter in the future as long as he's able to continue with that consistency and get a little bit more command. Just missing on the top 10 at number 11, I've got Detroit Tigers first-round pick Bryce Rayner, shortstop out of Harvard Westlake High School in California. Ooh, Bryce Rayner's got a sweet swing. He was drawn a lot of comparisons to Corey Seager. And honestly, when you watch him swing and you watch him play, I totally see it. He's also got a similar build to Corey Seager. 6'3", 195 out of high school is just not fair. He puts up crazy exit velos, drives the ball to the opposite field as well, does not chase, doesn't strike out, and he has plus power that can continue to grow in the future. Not to mention, he's also going to play shortstop. He has really good hands. He's improved upon his defense the last couple seasons, and if he did ever have to move to third, he'd probably be a really good defensive third baseman. You now understand why you're hearing the Corey Seager comps, because those are all the same things we heard about him. If Rayner could put it together, this is going to be an awesome pick by the Tigers. Again, the top 10 started at number 10. I've got Oakland A's first-round pick Nick Kurtz out of Wake Forest. Kurtz, one of the best first basemen in this entire draft class. Crazy pop out of this guy's bat playing for Wake Forest. Now, they do have a little bit of a smaller field. 300 down the line in right field is pretty close, but Kurtz has legitimate power. Hit 39 homers over the first 2 seasons in college. And what you love about him, power to all fields, really, really good bat speed, awesome left-handed swing that doesn't have a lot of moving parts. There's just not really a big weakness in his game because he dominates the strike zone, covers all pitches, and doesn't chase out of the zone. I guess the biggest issue is that he just plays first base and there's nowhere else for him to really go, along with being not the smoothest athlete. But think about how many players you would take on your team that just rake. That's going to be Mr. Kurtz over here. Very solid pick by the A's. Coming in at number 9 in the first round, I have the Los Angeles Angels first round pick, Christian Moore, second baseman out of Tennessee. Christian Moore absolutely flew up the draft boards this year. He had an amazing season for the Volunteers. He led NCAA Division I with 111 hits, the third most home runs, a school record 34 this year, and he was an integral part as to why the Tennessee Volunteers won the national championship. 6'1", 210 pounds. He's built like a brick house, and he's got the bat speed and the discipline and the bat control and the pop that makes you get really excited. The Angels are looking for someone who can fly through the system, and if Christian Moore continues to do what he's done at the plate, don't be surprised if he flies through the minors. The Angels are crazy aggressive, and Christian Moore is a guy that you can afford to get there with. Ooh, one of my favorite prospects here at number 8, Pittsburgh Pirates first-round pick Connor Griffin out of Jackson Prep School in Mississippi. Griffin is a unit. 6'4", 215 pounds as a high school senior. I mean, like, are you kidding me? And he is a freak athlete. When this guy gets running, he can fly. He stole 85 stolen bases this year in high school. That doesn't even make sense. He has a cannon of an arm, threw 96 off the mound. He has the potential to give you 30-30 upside. Yes, that's 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases. There's a good chance we look back at this draft and go, how did you not pick Connor Griffin first overall? He has the highest upside possibly out of anybody in this entire class. That being said, he's not perfect. There are still things he needs to fix, like working on his time, like understanding the strike zone better. But the bat speed, the raw power, and the athleticism makes him one of the most exciting players in the class. Next up at number 7, I've got Chicago White Sox first-round pick Hagen Smith, left-handed pitcher out of the University of Arkansas. White Sox went after Garrett Crochet 2.0, a guy who has some reliever risk because of the Tommy John surgery he had in high school, and because he still does need to kind of work on his control a little bit, but he was arguably the best pitcher in college baseball last year, had a K/9 rate of 17.3 last season, which is insane, and hitters only hit 144 against him. He sits in the mid-90s with his fastball from the left side, can touch 100, which is just crazy, especially when you see his funky delivery. He has a wipeout slider. I mean, it's almost untouchable, especially lefty-lefty, and he has the ability to even turn that into a cutter, along with the fact that he has an upper 80s splitter. Like, this guy's stuff is crazy. His mechanics are all over the place, which, again, gets you a little bit scary, but it's worked for him so far. I don't know if I would touch it. This honestly feels like the Garrett Crochet replacement. I think he's going to be traded out of Chicago any day now. Just missing out on the top 5 at number 6, the St. Louis Cardinals went with J.J. Weatherholt, shortstop out of West Virginia. Weatherholt is just a ball player. I mean, this guy feels like a St. Louis Cardinal. 3 years at West Virginia, he was phenomenal in all of them, won the D1 division batting title and Big 12 Conference Player of the Year, hitting .449 with a Fent in 2023. He's also a pretty good athlete. He's able to steal bases. He can also play shortstop. At the absolute worst, he'll be a really good second baseman, but simply on his bat alone makes him one of the 6 best players taken in the first round. This dude can absolutely swing it. Getting the top 5 started at number 5, I'm going with Chase Burns, first round pick by the Cincinnati Reds, right-handed pitcher out of Wake Forest. In most other drafts, Chase Burns probably goes number 1 overall, but there is a little bit of reliever risk here. That being said, yeah, he's disgusting. I don't really care about the reliever risk. The dude can touch 102 miles per hour with his fastball, struck out 191 batters in 100 innings, which is just so insane. He transferred from Tennessee this past year to Wake Forest and somehow got even better. He has a slider that is almost unhittable. It generated a 60% swing and miss rate the last 2 seasons. Oh, and he has a curveball as well and a changeup. He has really good command. He improved upon it this last season, and he's just got some of the nastiest stuff in the draft. I mean, Chase Burns in that Reds org, he could do some scary things. For Combine coming out of high school, he was one of my favorite players, and that's when he was still trying to do the two-way thing. He ended up transferring from Stanford to Texas A&M, and it was one of the best decisions he could have made. Playing in the SEC really showed how good of a ball player he is. He's a switch hitter who can do damage from both sides, does a little bit more as a left-handed hitter than he does righty, but still has plus power on both sides. In the SEC, he was able to improve upon his plate discipline and showed the ability to handle breaking balls. Now, he does still swing and miss a bit often, but he's a solid athlete, has a cannon of an arm, probably doesn't stick in center field, probably going to move to the corners, but the switch hitting plus power combo plus cannon of an arm plus being a good athlete, Brady Montgomery is just one of my favorite players. I'm really aggressive with him here, putting him inside the top 5. I think this could be the pick of the draft. For the 3rd best player taken in the first round, I've got number 1 overall pick Travis Bazzana by the Cleveland Guardians out of Oregon State University, the first ever Australian player taken number 1 overall. The second baseman, Bazzana, is an absolute stud. What you love about him? This dude rakes. Absolutely disgusting. His freshman year, he had a 902 OPS. Pretty dang good. He then got even better a year later, a 1.122 OPS. Are you kidding me? His swing is compact, and it's strong, and his bat speed is crazy. He has a ton of raw power. He mashes pitches in the zone, really good plate discipline, and he's a legit base stealing threat. The only concern you'd ever have is that he's basically a second baseman, and he's shown some improvement that makes you maybe think you could try him at short, but realistically, second base. But he's such a good hitter that you don't really care. His bat is that good that he went number 1 overall, and no one really batted an eye because this dude has insane abilities at the plate. Just missing on the number 1 spot at number 2, I've got the Colorado Rockies first round pick Charlie Condon, outfielder at a University of Georgia. This could be the best fit of the entire draft. Charlie Condon is a massive human being, 6'6", 216 pounds. Probably, actually, I'm not going to say probably, he was the best hitter in all of college baseball last year. As a freshman at the University of Georgia, he hit .386 with a .484 on base, 800 slugging, and 25 home runs. That was good enough to win the Golden Spikes Award, SEC Player of the Year, and then he got even better the next season. He hit .433 with a 1.009 slugging and an OPS at 1.565. He hit 37 home runs. His frame is massive. He absolutely crushes balls. He doesn't even hit them well sometimes, and he hits them 400 feet. He's just one of the best offensive prospects I genuinely think we've seen in a long time. Controls the strike zone well. There's really nothing bad to say about him at all. I guess you just got to find a position for him because his bat's so good, you need it in the lineup every day, and I cannot wait to see this guy swing the bat in Coors. He's going to hit some tape measure home runs. But of course, coming in at number 1 as the best player taken in the first round, I got to go with the Kansas City Royals first round pick, Jack Caglione. Two-way player out of the University of Florida. Yes, you heard that right. The Italian Shohei Ohtani, Jack Caglione, is going to be given the chance to be a two-way player. He did it in college baseball the last couple seasons at the University of Florida, and he was incredible. On the mound, that's definitely his weaker spot, but he can touch triple digits with the fastball and introduced a cutter more than his slider this past season, which seemed to be a lot more effective. Realistically, you draft him for his bat. If he ends up being a two-way player, it's probably going to be in a relief role, but also maybe it won't be. I haven't even talked about him at the plate yet. Get ready for this. Jack Caglione's numbers this year. 35 homers, 72 RBIs. He walked 32 more times than he struck out this year, a 419 average, 544 on base, 875 slugging for a 1419 OPS. What are you talking about? How are you doing that in the SEC? His left-handed swing is violent. There are some concerns about his pitch recognition and selection, but I think he was just getting a little impatient because teams just weren't pitching to him. But it's not very often you get to see players who can do the two-way thing. I love that the Royals are giving him a chance to be a two-way player. He's going to be legitimate must-watch baseball in the minors. He's so sick. So there it is, ranking every first-round pick from the 2024 MLB Draft. I'd love to know who you guys think is the best player in the first round so far down in the comment section below. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it and want to just show some support on the channel, as well as subscribing so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Again, lots of draft stuff still to come this week and trade deadlines around the corner. Follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc, links in the description. And don't forget to check out SeatGeek. Use that code DRAFT10 for 10% off your purchase. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next video. Bye.